All right, so to be clear, the referee Alex Camp said afterwards there was nothing wrong with the way the umpire handled that situation, saying he was simply spotting the ball properly. He collided with the players as he was setting the ball because he was moving it to the proper spot. I think it is imperative. I'm going to bring Domonique into the conversation here, but it is imperative again because all of us reacted the same way. Mike McCarthy and Dak are blaming the umpire for bumping into him and all of that, and you have made the point repeatedly. It is the player's job to turn around and hand the ball to the official. The official did not get that wrong, right?
Yeah, it's 100%. Whoever has the football, your job is to get down and then find the official, very Larry Fitzgerald style. It is not the official's job to go get the football from you.
It's like the teaching tape that we hear all the time about here, Rex. Very quickly, just on them blaming, I'm going to get Nick in a second, but on them blaming the officials there, because clearly that's what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Blame yourself. Don't blame the officials. The officials did it exactly right.
Okay, I think it's important that we say that because I don't want anyone who didn't see it to get up this morning and say, oh, the Cowboys got screwed by the officials in this case. They cost them the game. That said, Domonique, I wanted to get some of our regular guys on here this morning to give reaction to one of the most dramatic finishes that we've ever seen. So, Nick, I will give you the floor. That's an incredible finish yesterday. What are your primary takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I listened in the first segment when everybody, including especially Monday Dan, is ready to fire everybody over what happened. I think if you want to move on from Mike McCarthy, he's given you enough reason to over the course of the season. But I don't think necessarily yesterday was completely on him. If you're going to say that he created a culture in which this type of sloppiness is allowed, that's fine. But we can't be mad at Mike McCarthy, who also does not coordinate the offense or the defense or the special teams. This end of game situation is something that every team I've been on, we practice. And we either had officials at the practice or we'd have assistant coaches acting as officials. And I will watch the offensive guys when we were doing 2-minute drill at the end of every practice. They run the ball over and hand it to the official. So for Dak or for McCarthy or for anybody to suggest that the referees did something wrong it's outrageous. They should understand in that situation, as a defensive player, I just knew from watching all the time, if you get tackled as a receiver, you hop up, you take it to the official. I do know that we used to practice, and 14 seconds was the cutoff. When I was in Denver under Mike Shanahan, 14 seconds was the cutoff for how much time you had to get 2 plays in. It was also assumed that the play before was a pass. The ball obviously travels a lot faster than a runner. So that was a mistake that they made right there, is assuming that 14 seconds works for a run the same way that it works for a pass. But if you're going to try it, like Dan said and like everyone said, you hop up and you find the official. Who would have thought that Larry Fitzgerald would be the star of this Sunday where he's not even playing? But you're absolutely right. He needs to go on tour from team to team, get him another check, just teaching people how to act in last-second situations.
Go ahead, Rex.
Yeah, no, I mean, Dominique's exactly right. You have officials at all your practices, your 2-minute, and if not, you have coaches. This clearly looks like they might have practiced it the whole time. I'm not doubting that. But what they didn't practice, which is clear to me, is handing the ball to the official. Yeah. Period. The biggest thing you could do in that situation is make sure you find the official, give him the ball. He has to spot it. It's not like he has to touch the ball. He has to spot the football. Right. And that's something that, look, your center can't spot it. The quarterback can't spot it. The official has to spot the football. That's what was lost.
Can I touch on something that Dom said that I actually think is a really good point? He talked about usually the ball is thrown, not a run. Yeah. And this is part of the reason I didn't think about this till you said it, that I didn't like the play. I think it's brilliant because, one, you made the point, the ball is going to travel faster than a person running it. There was an easy completion of Dalton Schultz right there. And to Dom's point, when you're practicing 2-minute drill, thousands and thousands and thousands of reps, 99 out of 100 times, it is a tight end receiver or a back doing the act of getting tackled in bounds and getting to the official. It's not your quarterback. So while you may have practiced it, your receivers, the ball handlers, have a much more kind of much more experience in doing exactly that. I think that's a good point by Dom, throwing the football.
Go ahead, Nate.
I would say also that it's sad that it turned out this way for Mike McCarthy because this was actually his best performance of clock management. He managed to call those timeouts before halftime to force that punt. Great job. He managed to have 3 timeouts at the end of the game in order to try to force another punt situation. This was much better than what Mike McCarthy has done all season. Like, if we're being honest, he did his masterful job of clock management, and still all the other problems, the sloppiness of the team got in the way. But I'm not trying to be funny. This is true. Mike McCarthy would have squandered those timeouts in previous games.
Can I ask you quickly, and we joke around here, but about you have been a big supporter of and believer in Dak Prescott for a long time, to the point that we call you his cousin and all that kind of stuff. What did you take away from his performance in general? The last 14 seconds notwithstanding, how did you feel about the game he had yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it was underwhelming. It was underwhelming. I think that one of the interesting things is that Rex in the first block, and also a lot of people have talked about Kellen Moore stepping in as the new head coach. I don't know how you watch this team the last 8 to 10 weeks and think that Kellen Moore has earned a job as a head coach in this league. And I think it's fair you to be critical of Dak, but you paid Dak. And Dak is much better than most quarterbacks in the league. So Dak had a bad game? Absolutely. He put them in a reasonable position at the end. He deserves some criticism. But the one person who I think has skated some on this and is still considered like a top head coach candidate, despite the fact that his league best offense kind of looked like garbage for much of the second half of the season and was woefully disappointing in the game yesterday when they only had 7 points for the grand majority of the game. Like, that's interesting to me that Kellen Moore is still getting kind of waved around. And as much as we're critical of Mike McCarthy, that last second draw, that's either on Dak or Kellen Moore. Mike McCarthy didn't call that in.
He approved it, right? I mean, I would imagine that they had the conversation of this is going to be our play call. Hey, and this is, if he's not on the headset figuring out what they're doing in that situation, that's even worse than approving the play call. I think it's fair to say what you're saying about Kellen Moore. In relation to Dak Prescott, I think it was, as far as seeing the field-wise, his worst game in years that I've seen from him. Just, he did not see the field well. But you're not going to fire Dak Prescott.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.